we basically have trillions and trillions of cells in our body, and these cells have the innate ability to do what they did when we were younger, or make us live longer, healthier, recover the correct way.
I ended up essentially using all of the machine learning and AI work that we've done at Sound Health, and that's my expertise, to be able to get a CT accurate representation of your skull just based on a selfie. So that's the big tech innovation that we have here.
I'm going to tell you one trend. There was a girl who took her poop and applied to her face and said her face looks amazing after that. I'm like, literal poop. These trends are too much.
This is Vibe Science, a top 100 wellness podcast presented by the Radcast Network, breaking wellness barriers and making health truly personal. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
It's a fascinating time to be alive in a lot of ways. There's something meta about that statement and this show and what we're doing. But all the advances that are happening in medicine and technology, and I don't know, it's all right at our fingertips. That's why I like doing this show. It keeps me abreast of all of the latest and greatest things in regenerative health. And, you know, I don't love the word biohacking because it feels way more sophisticated than I feel like I am in my approach to health. But I guess in a way it is. But at the end of the day, there's these advances happening and ways to take care of ourselves that awareness needs to be made, needs to happen. You know, people need to know about these things and know what's available to them and, you know, what's kind of happening out there. So I look forward to, you know, kind of taking a macro and a micro view with you, Doctor, about, you know, micro, specifically what you're doing, but maybe getting your macro view on where all this stuff is kind of going and the things that you're learning. So I guess buckle up, everybody. We're going to get rolling. Doctor, I mean, you know, we'll have the Cliff Notes to all your history and everything on the website and all of that. But I think I'd love to start with, where are we at in this field of regenerative medicine? You know, maybe set the big picture to start, and then we'll dial it in to what you're doing with ReHealth and ReStem.
Yeah, we've fortunately, we've been able to significantly grow because it's out there, it's available. There's methods for me specifically, is the key focus for me is the immune system. I've always focused on that. Many years back when I looked at every single disease and various different diseases, including injuries, trauma, you know, spinal cord injury, which I was part of the Christopher E. Prowse Foundation over 20 years ago. It sounded interesting that the immune system plays a critical role in the healing response, or the possibility of even a detrimental response that can happen to our body. And regenerative medicine, in the context of cell therapies, meaning you have the innate ability, you know, we basically have trillions and trillions of cells in our body. And these cells have the innate ability to do what they did when we were younger, or make us live longer, healthier, recover the correct way. There's nothing more important than the immune system. And, you know, even if you think of, people talk about skincare, cosmetics, listen, the immune system plays a critical role in this stuff too. You look at a sick person, they look sick. You look at somebody that has, you know, high viruses, which is a problem that everybody knows about now, and there's new ones coming in on a daily basis. You look sick, and your skin reflects it. Your skin will reflect this. It's important that everybody understands that. I think, you know, help is on the way. Science is evolving and has evolved a lot. And the good thing about it is that people like yourself and others out there are making the push of, how do we make this stuff sort of conventional medicine, is one. And then two, how do we make this somewhat affordable, or, you know, getting out there? There's quite a bit of advances. Like, for instance, you know, this past year, there was our the first approval ever of a stem cell product for a specific disease, which is graft versus host disease. So it's basically when you have a transplant of an organ and your body rejects it, if you use a particular type of stem cell, it stops that rejection. It's a regenerative medicine product. and it works well for that. It's the first of its kind approval, and companies as ourself are now have gone into the immune space a lot, autoimmune disease, and we're hoping by next year we will have some form of maybe a pre-market condition approval or something specifically for specific autoimmune diseases that we can get an approval. And it's one step at a time, baby step of getting these therapies out there, these cell therapies out there.
How versus like a nasal spray, like you talked about, versus other steroid, options, things like that for typical sinus infection. How successful is this?
So great question, by the way. So we, just to give you kind of a rewind back, our first study was done after the pandemic. We had 50 people who came in with nasal congestion. So our entire FDA clearance is based on the most prevalent and most, how do I say this, felt symptom of any nasal or sinus problem, which is your nose is congested, you can't breathe, right? So we took 50 people at UCSF, put them through, acoustic resonance therapy, which, by the way, I want to take a small detour here. Not everybody, including you, is walking around with your CT of your head. If you are, you're very special. I was, because I had a problem. But in any event, I ended up essentially using all of the machine learning and AI work that we've done at Sound Health, and that's my expertise, to be able to get a CT accurate representation of your skull just based on a selfie. So that's the big tech innovation that we have here, right?
Wow.
So, if you're going to go pick up our band or order it online or pick it up from Cedars-Sinai or from Stanford, the first thing it'll have you do is scan your face on your iPhone or on your Android phone. That lets us set up the precise vibratory sound and vibration that we play through your bones with a bone conduction headphone that's on your forehead. And that's what decongests you. So now coming back to the study. So we had 50 people, 2 10-minute doses, and they responded better than Flonase, 90% response rate to a standard pharmaceutical congestion score that Flonase and every pharmaceutical uses to track congestion, right? And then we went to the FDA, and the FDA is like, and we published that, by the way. That's all of the stuff is published. I'm happy to send you and the users our entire science repository. But that was published, and we went to the FDA with that publication in one of the largest and most tough peer-reviewed journals. It's called IFAR, International Forum of Allergy and Rhinology. And the FDA said, whoa, we've never heard anything like this. We need you guys to go. Exactly. We haven't heard or felt anything like it. I love it. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And so what ended up happening was that they told us that we need to do a gold standard study, which would essentially be a de novo. A de novo means never done before, right? And we got I'm going to say this, proctologist treatment because we never had it. Nothing was available, number one. Number two, the FDA had just gotten hit on the wrist for the epinephrine debacle, right? They kept epinephrine on the shelves in oral form. So we became the poster child for deliberation and diligence, which, by the way, was a 2-year effort. And so we had them co-develop the first ever study to answer your question, which is how effective is this versus 14 other over-the-counter medications before they would give us a de novo FDA clearance. Well, that study is published now. It's a landmark study. I don't think anybody's done anything like it for any device. So we had 5 nationwide centers across multiple allergy seasons, across multiple age groups and multiple face sizes, because they wanted to make sure that it works for Caucasians, for Asians, for African Americans, the whole 9 yards. And we got that gold standard data to them in 2024. 2023. 2024, we got clearance, and we started shipping in the summer last year, just a year ago today. Now we have over 7,000 people on the band, and we have the largest living database of nasal congestion sufferers in the world, right?
Wow. What are some other misconceptions or things that, people are not getting right in overall skincare and sort of taking care of that overall, routine?
Well, the routine is you need to be careful. Let's talk about the routine first. You need to be careful not to mix certain ingredients and certain products just because TikTok trends told you so. So, for example, you can't mix an acidic toner with retinol. You can't use it on the same day. You're just going to hurt yourself. You can't use an acidic toner every day. You're going to disturb your skin microbiome and everything else down there, and you're going to have more problems at the end. So that's one of the problems. Second of all, please stop following trends, TikTok trends. I'm going to tell you one trend. There was a girl who took her poop and applied to her face and said her face looks amazing after that. I'm like, literal poop. I'm not kidding you.
I think I heard about this.
Oh my god!
I watched it. It was
Somebody
scary.
probably trolled her. And
Was it real? Was she being serious or was she trolling?
It was her real poop.
Ugh.
I mean, the only way I can think
disgusting.
Yeah, maybe there's urea in there, and that's what's doing it. Uric acid and whatnot. That's why I can't find another reason why she would like this. And it should smell really bad. It's bacteria in there. But these trends are too much. And also another thing in skincare. So we have clean skincare, right? And everybody wants natural. Everybody wants organic. And I need to state this and underline it. Not everything natural is good. Not everything synthetic is bad. Combination of both is really good. So you need to do your research. Please don't go for the trends. If an influencer says something, put a question mark. Do your own research. That's all I'm going to say about this.
Sometimes less is more.
Right? Exactly. That less is more is coming from architecture. It's an architectural. Yeah.
Oh, they like as a design or as
it's a design. In the 60s or 70s, one of the architectural guys said less is more, and started designing
clean lines. Simpler, simple effect. Well, I mean, I think that's what it's about. I mean, it's like keep it simple, but you got to start with the right ingredients, clearly.
Yes.
And it's not poop.
No, we don't want poop.
Oh my goodness. What's the future hold for where you guys are going with the company? Like innovative things, or just obviously you're keeping it simple, but effective. I mean, what are you excited about?
So I'm excited about more and more people are seeing the science. And we were the first one in the inflammaging, signs of inflammaging in the beauty industry. And there's more and more companies coming up now trying to solve this problem. Actually, one of my friends asked me, "Is like, would you get mad if I showed you another company trying to solve inflammation?" I said, "No, I don't get mad. This is a good thing because we're going from top to bottom now. It's just we need to have a coherent voice based on science." So what excites me about all this, more science is coming, real science is coming, which is good. And for the company, we are focusing on different devices now, and new things are coming soon. And we have one of the first devices was an UV shield facial analyzer that shows you if you applied the sunscreen correctly. We didn't want another sunscreen. We wanted to see if you're doing it correctly, so if you're protected completely. I think that's more important. And then we're going to have a new equipment coming soon, but I can't reveal it before we put it out. But it's going to be really, really cool.
That's great.
In fact, I have a very close girlfriend, and many girlfriends actually that have gone through the breast cancer journey. And this one in particular I'm thinking about because it was just recent, and she got stage 1A cancer. And so they did the lumpectomies, took out the lumps on both sides. And then they said, now we're going to radiate you. So they radiated her for 30 days. And I know this sounds personal, but she showed me just quickly what they looked like. And oh my God, I couldn't believe it. It was like she had been napalmed. And she's still having problems a year later. And then they wanted to put her on 5 years of those chemo pills, or the pills that they do for a 5-year follow-up. And I'm like, you had stage 1. First of all, lumpectomy, great. Did you really have to have 30 days of radiation, because now you've had it. If it comes back in the future, you can't have it again. You can't have any more radiation. And then the chemo pill for 5 years. And I said, you're so burnt. Why don't you come to my hyperbaric chamber clinic that I go to? And so she talked to her oncologist about it, and the oncologist said, don't go for 5 years. And you know why she said 5 years, right? Because at the 5-year period, they can say that they were able to get another patient, another statistic into a 5-year remission. And I think that's terrible. And she made my friend feel so bad about even thinking about going into hyperbaric that she refused to do it. And I'm like, that's what it's for. It's for healing wounds and, flooding ourselves with oxygen so that we can be in a more, alkaline state, in a healthier state. So many things.
I can relate
wrong.
to a lot of that. My wife went through breast cancer.
Oh,
and
boy.
So just last year. So I have been down that road, and it's and she's, over. I mean, it's never over, but came on the other side of it. So I'm familiar with all that terminology and everything like that. And the absolute 100% lack of solutions or ideas outside of, those tried and true supposedly things. And, now on medication, to essentially keep her in menopause, to keep, to suppress all of her hormones. And so I can write a book on that.
Yes, you could, and people gobble up stories. When I was posting on Facebook as we were going through this journey, when we were doing the traditional treatments in the US, I just posted occasionally, but we were shocked, at people's responses and the fascination they had with, because sometimes when you have a cancer event in a family, it's so shocking, and what you go through is so horrible. It's horrific that you just go. Sometimes you go inwards, and you don't ask for help, and you just try to survive. You stick to your house, and you go to the treatments, and here and there, and you don't talk to people. You don't share it on social media, and you just go through it kind of alone. Whereas, my two girlfriends that had already been to Sarnaviv, they had posted about their breast cancer journeys. And Sarnaviv in Mexico, and so that gave me confidence to post. And then as soon as my now late husband saw the responses that people were typing, like, oh my gosh, this is so fascinating. Oh, you guys are inspiring me to take better care of my health, and then of course all the bless yous, God bless. Good healing energy, juju, coming your way. So there was a lot of, prayer and energy healing sent our way, which, it all helps, right? So, it does. It's all about the inspiration.
The content discussed on this show is provided for reference and educational purposes. The content is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice. Always consult your personal physician for medical advice and proper diagnosis.
Thanks for listening. This is Vibe Science. To learn more or watch full episodes, visit vibesciencepodcast.com. Here's to discovering your highest vibe.